Killer Bees, it's Paula B from PaulaBFitness.com, and welcome to the Let's Run podcast. You guys, I've got a great run and walk today with challenging but manageable intervals while we talk about how to make all of your fitness wishes come true. Now, I do not have a warm-up for us today, so depending on how you're watching or listening to this, I've either got a link here on screen or in the description or the show notes below. And when you're ready, I'm totally ready. Let's run! Alright, you guys, we are going to get right into it. Here's what it looks like today. I've got my handy dandy gym boss here set for intervals of 2 minutes of running and 1 minute of walking, which you are absolutely welcome to use the other way around. Depending on where you are in your walking and running journey, I'm starting with the 2 minute interval. So whichever way you want to go, if you'd like an extended warm up of walking, however you want to do it, that's how we're doing it. Let's get moving. So I am starting with the running interval, and I'm using that word running even though right now I'm taking it kind of lightly. I'm warmed up, but I have not been running yet today, and so for me, I'm kind of easing my way into it as an extended warm-up. But because I've been running for a few years now, I can warm up while I'm running. And I know that sounds kind of funny, and that might actually be a topic for another day about how when you first start running, you know, it feels so hard, it feels so difficult, and you can only do it for such short amounts of time. But the better you get at it, the more you can really take it at different paces and use it for different reasons. Sometimes I'm trying to run hard, sometimes I'm trying to run easy. And I know that word sounds so funny, to run easy. And that kind of actually leads me into what we're talking about today, about your fitness wishes. I have a simple trick to make all your fitness wishes come true, but that word simple does not imply easy. And I'm gonna tell you what it is straight up, because I'm not gonna make you wait for it. The trick that will make all of your fitness wishes come true is to stop using the word wish. I tell you what, this is something that I hear a lot, and it's a word I think we kind of throw around without really thinking about how we're using it and what it means. When I say to you, I wish I could lose 10 pounds, listen to how different that sounds from this. I want to lose 10 pounds. Now, obviously there was some inflection in my voice which made it different too, but the inflection was there because it's a really important difference, not just in what you're saying, but in what you're implying. And we're gonna go ahead, for me personally, bringing it down to a walk. You might be bringing it up to a run right now. However you're using these intervals, totally okay with me. When we use the word wish, the implication is that it's out of our control. I wish I could win the lottery. I wish I could lose 10 pounds. I wish any number of things that seem impossible, fantastical, too big, too wild, too far out there and out of our control to ever get. Or if we do get it, it would be so fantastical. Like when you say, I wish I could lose 10 pounds. And please feel free to insert whatever your fitness goal is. And yes, I just changed the word wish to goal, but whatever it is that you've been saying, I wish. I'm gonna keep using the example of I wish I could lose 10 pounds just because that's easy for me to stick with one thing. But when you say that, what are you picturing? When you say, I wish, for example, for years when I said, I wish I could qualify for Boston, what I was implying is that it was so outside my realm that therefore the actual getting of it was going to somehow be outside of reality also. When you say, I wish I could lose 10 pounds, aren't you picturing something like wearing the skinniest of skinny jeans and that girl at work that you don't like is suddenly jealous of you because you look so hot, and suddenly men are falling at your feet, or, you know, something wild, like the entire world would be better if you lost 10 pounds or qualified for Boston or whatever it is that you're wishing for. As though there would never be another toilet to clean. As though you would not ever have a day where you felt like a busted can of biscuits over the top of your jeans. As though losing 10 pounds was suddenly going to make your relationship with your mother-in-law far more easy. That is what you are implying to yourself when you say, I wish. When you say, I want to lose 10 pounds, your brain kind of automatically switches into a different gear. It switches into, how can I get that done? I want implies that you're already making a list. You are coming up with the ways that you're going to get there. I want to qualify for Boston. Well, then I'm going to have to train for it. Well, then I'm going to have to run faster. Well, then I'm going to have to sign up for a marathon. Well, then I'm going to have to figure out fueling. You're automatically going to go through some check boxes of the things that you have to do. I'm bringing it back down to a walk. You can go either direction. When your brain does that, there's something else that it does too, and it's actually what we're going to talk about, even more so than ditching that word wish. I think we've clarified that the word wish isn't doing you any good. But the word want is scary. The word want is realistic. The word want requires you, not requires, that's kind of a weird thing to say. It puts you in the mode of doing. And when you say, I want, if it is something that you are struggling with, for me, for years, I want to qualify for the Boston Marathon, the things that came up when I would say, I want, was resistance. Let me just tell you, it was nonstop. It was a huge list, not just of these are the things you're going to have to do to get there, but these are the 50 million reasons why you could never have that. And that's something I want you to pay attention to. Those reasons, and yes, I'm using air quotes, those things that you hear when you say, I want. It's not practical, you're too old, you'd have to give up sugar, you'd have to give up carbs, you'd have to exercise more. Yes, some of them are the check boxes that might get you there, but a lot of them are just junk. They are junk that you have in your head that tells you that the thing that you want, you can't have. And I have to tell you, that in order to get that thing that you want, that thing that you wish for, you've got to sort through that junk. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And I am going to change my example, because this does really apply to when I wanted to run the Boston Marathon. I knew what I had to do. I knew that I had that list. I had to train, I had to qualify, I had to run a certain pace. I had to do all these different things. I had to figure out my fueling. The most important thing that I had to do was sort through all the things in my head that told me why I couldn't have it, why it was dumb to want something that I was never going to be good enough to have or to accomplish. And that list of stuff truly had nothing to do with my physical capabilities. And digging them all out, pulling them up by the roots, is one of the things that really made the difference for me in order to meet my fitness wishes, my fitness goal. When you start with that sentence, I want, what do you hear? And I mean, this is really personal, and I have to tell you, this process gets really uncomfortable. I had to confront some things that I didn't even realize I was thinking about myself and about my place in the athletic world. You are probably going to get really uncomfortable with some of the things that you dig up. And to be clear, When you dig them up, it is hard, it is painful, and it is difficult to think about things that people have said to you, things that you don't want to think about. I mean, that's part of why we have buried them deeply. But that voice in your head that's telling you that you can't have the things that you want, you can't do the things that you want to do, that voice is lying to you. You can do anything. You are capable of literally anything. Okay, not literally, figuratively anything. There are some physical limitations. Some. Not a ton. There are fewer than you think. When you start digging through the things that you think about yourself, you don't have to place blame. Some of the things I thought about myself, for example, I thought about not being able to finish things. As the youngest child in my family, and I know I have talked about this before, as the youngest child in my family, I was allowed to quit anything I didn't want to do. like literally anything. And that one I do mean literally, not figuratively. I didn't enjoy T-ball, I quit. I didn't enjoy emptying the dishwasher, which was my chore. I quit. There was always somebody else who was way too frustrated with me being slow and young, who was gonna go ahead and finish up that job no matter what. So I didn't have a whole lot of responsibility, which happens when you are the youngest. But I also, therefore, did not believe I could finish things. And when I first kind of started coming to grips with this, there is that little bit of, oh, my mother and father, they ruined me. But the fact is, I had to finish lots of things. The way that I perceived myself as somebody who quit was not necessarily rooted in facts. Like, some of them were facts, but the truth was, I quit some things, absolutely. I quit what I felt was lots of things, but I had to finish lots of things too. I always had to do all my own homework. My parents never helped me with homework, let me tell you that. My parents never helped me with homework. I always had to do at least some of my chores. There were things I didn't want to finish, so I didn't. But I had probably just as many, if not more, responsibilities that I did follow through on, that I did finish, as those that I quit. But my perception of it was that I was a quitter. So in order to change that perception, because I had to, in order to get what I wanted, I had to change the way I saw myself. So I had to, rather than, when I thought about, I always quit things, rather than constantly running that scenario through my head, I actively changed what I was looking for, what memories I was bringing up. When I thought about quitting something, I tried very hard to remember something that I had finished. And the trick here, simple, not easy, the trick here, first of all, is just to even recognize. It's to recognize the junk that you're saying to yourself. And to move beyond blaming to the point where you can see that everything that you think about yourself might be different than what you think. It's weird, right? Like, mind blown. When I started searching for examples of things that I had finished, there were lots of them. When I started searching for examples of times that I had been successful at something, specifically something athletic. Again, I'm thinking about when I was training to qualify for Boston. And I thought, there were lots of times in my head, I could never run that fast. I had run that fast plenty of times. I had to consciously bring those thoughts of success forward in my mind. When you hear something over and over and over again, you tend to think that it is fact. And you are in control of what you hear over and over and over again. I used to hear, I'm a quitter, in my head over and over and over again. When I went searching for examples of all the times that I had not quit something, and then consciously brought that forward and repeated that over and over and over to myself. And trust me, this is a long process. This is not something that you're gonna like dig something out, find an old memory, and be like, oh, okay, cool, now I'm done. No, this is something that's gonna take you a lot of repetition. You need to replace that old thought with a new thought. And I know that's hard. I'll be honest, again, it's almost as hard as digging up the old thought, getting to the root of it. It's very difficult to change a habit that you might have had for as long as you can remember. My earliest memories are of me quitting things. So replacing that with ideas and memories of times when I didn't, of times when I was successful, that took months. That was not an easy process because I would find myself slipping into old ways of thinking of old patterns. When something would be difficult, I would automatically think, oh no, I'm gonna quit. And I had to remind myself, I don't quit. I'm not a quitter. I am successful at things like this. I can get through things that are difficult. I can move past things that are hard. And the good news here, because there is good news, I know so far it's been all, oh, well, this is simple, but it's not easy, and this is hard, and it's gonna be painful. You're gonna come up with old memories, and then you have to switch them. But here's the thing, the good news is that the process gets easier. The first little piece of resistance that you dig up is gonna be tough. But like everything that you do with practice, it gets easier. Once you start to recognize patterns of thinking, you're gonna find a lot of them. It'll get easier to find them. Once you realize that you can replace old thoughts with new thoughts, or even new old thoughts, you can come up with new old memories that'll support your new idea. It gets easier. When you practice reminding yourself that you actually are good at doing whatever it is that you are wishing for, wanting, it'll get easier. Now, the daily tasks, if we're coming back to that, I want to lose 10 pounds. The daily tasks that you are going to, I'm gonna say need to do in order to lose weight, you know, those are gonna kind of stay the same, but your perception of how difficult those tasks are is actually going to get easier. And I know that sounds funny, but when I was training for the marathon that I eventually did qualify for Boston, I went into a lot of the speed work sessions and a lot of the long runs feeling like, oh my God, this is gonna be so hard, it's gonna be tough. This is something that I have not had a lot of success at. I was trying to replace old thoughts. I've had some success, but not a lot, you know, things like that. It was, the first couple times, it was difficult. But then as I was successful, it got a lot easier, and it changed my perception of how difficult the task was. The task itself didn't change. I needed to run a 9-minute mile. I mean, that's a fact. that was not gonna change. And for that example specifically, my body did adapt. Running a 9-minute mile got easier because I practiced it a lot. And in that sense, your mind practicing something is going to adapt. Your body practicing something, eating the right number of calories every day, is going to adapt. You might feel that first day that you are counting calories or exercising, you might feel like that is the hardest thing you've ever done, ever. But as you do it more, it will become easier. It will become a new habit. And as you well know, habits, we stop thinking about them. We stop stressing over them. We stop worrying about them. We just do them, you know? You brush your teeth, you're not thinking about which way is my hand holding the toothbrush? Where is it going in my mouth? How much toothpaste should I put on the toothbrush? You're not thinking about any of that stuff. You're thinking about what you've got to do today. You're thinking about, I can't wait till I go to sleep tonight. You're thinking a million other things. Whatever task it is right now that's giving you difficulty is going to not necessarily get as easy as brushing your teeth, but is going to get easier. And I know that we've come kind of a long way from wishing to doing to having a habit, but that really is the process. And like all processes, you've got to just start. You have to just jump in, see how it feels, do what you can do, pick the easiest thing and do those easy things, and keep moving forward with it. Anything you wish for, anything you want, and this is going to be my last walking interval, I'm wrapping this up. Anything you wish for, anything you want, you are capable of doing, having, being. It's a simple process that isn't easy, but it starts with knocking that word wish out of your vocabulary. You guys, you know I want to hear from you. You know that this was a lot to cover in a very short workout today. I could probably get a couple more podcasts out of this kind of changing your thinking, changing your habits. And I would love to know what it brought up for you, what you're thinking about, when you've been using the word wish and didn't even realize where you were going with it. Thank you so much for watching. I would love it if you would leave a comment. Either, it depends on how you're consuming this. If you are on SoundCloud, you can leave a comment either there or on the show notes at paulabfitness.com. If you are watching this as a video on YouTube, you can leave a comment right here. You guys, thank you so much for walking and running with me today. I'll see you next time. Before you go, make sure that you grab this week's mini challenge. What's the mini challenge? You guys, it's a free weekly workout calendar that I've got for you on paulabfitness.com. 5 fun workouts Monday through Friday to get you fit and keep you motivated, one mini challenge at a time. You should see an interactive card or maybe a pop-up somewhere around me, or if you're on mobile or desktop, you can also click on the description below for a link to take you to my website and learn all about it. Make sure that you use the hashtag PaulaB Mini Challenge so that I can cheer you on. And happy sweating this week, Killer Bee!